This is Rummy's Corner. Good evening, boxing fans, and welcome to part 7 of 13, the 1950s. This was the scoring system where 25 volunteers provided me with a chronological list of between 10 and 25 names whom they believe represent the greatest pound-for-pound boxers who competed in the 1950s. Let's rock! At number 10, we have Joe Brown, an American boxer known as Old Bones. Brown was a talented boxer with a sharp jab and great all-around ability, known for his toughness and athleticism. He won the World Lightweight Championship in 1956, and he dominated the division for 6 years where he made 11 consecutive title defenses before losing the crown. Quick note, the record information at the bottom is the current information available on BoxRec, and is just here as a point of reference. Brown appeared on 14 out of 25 lists in the survey. Number 9 is Gene Fullmer, an American boxer known as Cyclone. Fullmer was a tough and durable boxer known for his relentless mauling style. Fullmer was a 2-time middleweight champion, first winning the World Championship in 1957 and later winning the NBA version of the title in 1959, which he defended into the following decade. Fullmer is best known for winning his 4-fight rivalry against the great Sugar Ray Robinson. Fullmer appeared on 19 out of 25, providing him with a clear advantage over Brown in the scoring. Number 8 is Sandy Sadler, an American boxer known for having stellar power to go along with his impeccable ability to cut off the ring and corner an opponent. Sadler was a 2-time world featherweight champion, and he was also the NBA junior lightweight champion. This marks Sadler as the 10th boxer to appear inside the top 10 in multiple decades, where he finished at 7th place during the 1940 survey. Sadler is best known for winning his 4-fight rivalry with Willie Pep, which started the previous decade and concluded here in the 1950s. Sadler landed on 21 out of 25 here in the survey, including 4 votes inside the top 5. Number 7 is Kid Gavilan, a Cuban boxer who is also known as the Cuban Hawk. Gavilan was a brilliant boxer-puncher with an unusual and awkward delivery that was very effective. Gavilan was a defensive master who utilized good movement, quickness, and all-around slickness. Gavilan won the World Welterweight Championship in 1951, and he defended that title a total of 7 times over the next 2+ years. The Cuban Hawk landed on 19 out of 25 in the survey, which also included 9 votes inside the top 5. At number 6, we have Floyd Patterson, an American boxer duly known as the Gentleman of Boxing. Patterson won the vacant World Heavyweight Championship in 1956, and in the following decade he would become the first man during the long rich history of boxing to become a 2-time World Heavyweight Champion, something many former heavyweight champions tried and failed to do before him. This is an historically significant achievement that I believe tends to get underrated in the context of those who failed before him. Floyd landed on 20 out of 25, including 8 votes inside the top 5. Number 5 is Carmen Basilio, an American boxer known as the Upstate Onion Farmer. Basilio was best known for his tremendous heart and unwavering determination, where he battled with a gutsy approach that complemented his all-around toughness. Basilio won the World Welterweight Championship in 1955, and after losing the crown the following year, he regained it in 1956, making him a 2-time welterweight champion. Basilio also moved up and won the World Middleweight Championship in 1957. Basilio landed on 22 out of 25, including 7 votes inside the top 5. Number 4 is Pascual Perez, an Argentine boxer known as El León Mendocino. Perez was under 5 feet tall and consistently weighed in under the flyweight limit. But despite his small stature, he had menacing power and the ability to dish out a lot of punishment. Perez won the World Flyweight Championship in 1954, and he was a dominant champion who made 9 defenses of his crown before losing it the following decade. Perez only landed on 17 out of 25, but 13 had him inside the top 5, and he also received 1 first-place vote. It's an interesting case here, because 8 volunteers omitted him altogether, but for those who did include him, all but 4 people had him inside the top 5. But even if he had appeared on more lists, he may not have finished any higher than he did, as you will soon see the scores jump up as we get to the Big 3 from the 1950s, where it's the tightest 3-way race in the survey series to date. Indeed, less than 100 points separated the top spot from the third. And at number 3, we have the one and only Rocky Marciano, an American boxer known as the Brockton Blockbuster. Marciano is well known for his relentless pressure style, his sledgehammer power, and his tremendous ability to absorb incoming fire. Marciano won the World Heavyweight Championship in 1952, and he defended that crown 6 times until his retirement, where he retired with a perfect unblemished record of 49-0-0. In terms of the survey, Marciano's point total was nearly double that of Perez. Marciano landed on a perfect 25. He received 24 votes inside the top 5, and he also got 7 first-place votes. At number 2, we have the great Sugar Ray Robinson, an American boxer known for having a graceful and fluid yet menacing style, with immaculate skills, tremendous punching power, outstanding ring smarts, and an enormous will to win. Robinson is widely regarded as one of the very best, if not the best boxer during the long, rich history of the sport, and not without damn good reason. Robinson was the world welterweight champion back in the 40s, and during the 1950s he was a 5-time world middleweight champion. That marked Sugar Ray as the 11th boxer in the survey to finish inside the top 10 in multiple decades. And even more impressive, Sugar Ray is just the 6th boxer to finish inside the top 5 in multiple decades, and just the 3rd to finish inside the top 3 in multiple decades. Robinson appeared on 24 out of 25. He had 23 mentions inside the top 5, and he received 10 first-place votes. And finally, at number 1, we have Archie Moore, the Old Mongoose. The Old Mongoose was an American boxer known for having a crafty style, with great ring smarts, devastating knockout power, and outstanding all-around boxing ability. Archie won the World Light Heavyweight Championship in 1952, and he was a dominant champion. Moore's reign lasted just shy of a full decade, the longest reign in the division's rich history. And during that stretch, he made 9 title defenses, and all the while, Archie was also competing and winning against ranked contenders at heavyweight, which earned him the opportunity to twice challenge for the heavyweight crown. The Old Mongoose is now the 12th boxer to finish inside the top 10 in multiple decades. Moore was a unanimous choice in the survey, and he landed on a perfect 25, where 24 volunteers had him ranked inside the top 5, and he also received 7 first-place votes. Here is the final top 10 list from the 1950s. In terms of the final results, to repeat what I said, this was easily the tightest 3-way race we have seen in any decade, with less than 100 points separating number 1 Archie Moore from number 3 Rocky Marciano. The only other decade that was close to being this competitive in terms of the top 3 was the 1910s, where first place and third place were separated by 230 points. But this was a tight race. Circling back to Pascual Perez, where he finished in 4th place, and he was a bit of an anomaly, only appearing on 17 out of 25, but his 13 votes inside the top 5 were several higher than any of the guys who were mentioned by more volunteers below him. But even if he got more mentions, in this particular decade, it's unlikely he cracks the top 3 regardless. Then one volunteer omitted Sugar Ray Robinson in this survey, which perhaps may have contributed to Archie edging Ray out by a mere 15 points. Robinson did, after all, get the most first place votes, 3 more than both Archie and Rocky. Depending on where Ray may have landed if that omission was an oversight, it conceivably could have tipped it to Robinson, which would have made him the winner in back-to-back decades, something that has not yet happened in the survey. Then you have Rocky Marciano just being edged out by these two. It's a damn interesting decade near the top, and the debate about the ordering of those top 3 guys, I can see a case being made for any order among those guys. But I won't lie, when I did the final sort on the spreadsheet, and I discovered that the old mongoose came out on top, I was tickled pink, smiling ear to ear. Archie Moore, the old mongoose himself. I don't vote in these surveys myself, and again, I think the top 3 are more or less interchangeable. But seeing the old mongoose on top left me with a big smile on my face. Now, guys just missing the cut on the top 10, each of whom had over 500 total points. We have Joey Maxim at 13, Harold Johnson at 12, and Ezzard Charles at number 11. Oh, jeez. Poor fucking Ezzard. In my humble opinion, the Cincinnati Cobra is in my top 5 all time. But the confines of this survey have not been kind to him. He just missed the cut here in the 1950s. And in the 1940s, he didn't even land inside the top 3. Which, in the context of this exercise, I get it, but I still feel like he is one of the few boxers whose greatness has clearly not shined as brightly as it deserves under the confines of the survey. The 2 things that really jumped out to me, the first being that Sugar Ray became just the 3rd guy to finish inside the top 3 in multiple decades. Now, we have had a bunch of guys finish inside the top 10 in multiple decades, but that usually indicates that a boxer's prime just crossed over the arbitrary start of a new decade. Archie became the 12th to do that, but Archie was special. He was the old mongoose, the ageless warrior, whose longevity was historically unique to that point in time. And Sugar Ray also did that this decade, and he too was special and extraordinary. Sandy Sadler also joined that club here, but he was more typical of what we see for the multiple decade guys. His prime years stretched from the later parts of the 1940s into the 1950s. But to finish inside the top 3 in multiple decades, that signifies something extra special to me that goes well beyond an all-time great boxer whose prime just so happened to cross multiple decades. The first instance we saw of this was the man, the myth, the legend, the one and only Harry Greb. He finished number 3 in the 1910s, which was that other tightly contested 3-way race I mentioned earlier. Then Greb also finished number 1 for the 1920s, marking him as the first man in the survey to place inside the top 3 twice. Then we had the Brown Bomber, the great Joe Louis. He finished number 2 in the 1930s, and always the runner-up in this exercise. He likewise finished number 2 in the 1940s. And interestingly enough, Lewis averaged over 100 points per volunteer in each decade. Now, I haven't strictly been tracking averages yet, but a quick glance multiplying the list number times 100, you can visually track it. In the 1930s, Joe had over 2,500 points when we had 23 volunteers. And then he had over 3,100 points in the 1940s where we had 31 volunteers. And now the great Sugar Ray Robinson. He finished number 1 in the 1940s where he too averaged over 100 points per volunteer. And here again in the 1950s, he finished number 2 and again averaged over 100 points per volunteer. And that was the other thing that jumped out to me. Prior to the 1950s, there were only 7 instances of a boxer averaging over 100 in any given decade. But we added 3 new ones here in the 1950s, which is a testament to the tight race for the big 3, which included Marciano, Sugar Ray, and the Old Mongoose. Again, I have not been strictly tracking averages, but when I eventually finish this survey series, I plan to use these results as a reference for a future project, because under the scoring criteria here, averaging over 100 provides to me a very strong and solid consensus where I can safely say these guys are all complete and total badasses in boxing history. In the 1890s, we saw it twice. Number 2, Tommy Ryan, and number 1, Bob Fitzsimmons. The 1890s was the first decade we examined in the survey exercise. Then in the 1900s, we had the great Joe Gans hitting the mark. In the 1920s, the man, the myth, the legend, the one and only Harry Greb. It happened twice in the 1930s. The aforementioned number 2 finisher, Joe Louis, and also the winner from the 1930s, the great Henry Armstrong. And then it happened twice again in the 1940s. Number 2, Joe Louis, and of course number 1, the great Sugar Ray. Now we have 3 more instances here in the 1950s, with number 3, Rocky Marciano, the Brockton blockbuster. Then number 2, Sugar Ray Robinson joined Joe Louis as the only guy to do that twice. And of course, Archie Moore, the Old Mongoose. So at the end of the day, it happened 10 times that someone has averaged over 100 points per volunteer. 2 of those 10 were Joe Louis, and 2 of those remaining 8 were Sugar Ray Robinson. I find this stuff utterly fascinating, truly and sincerely. A very special thanks to the 25 volunteers who contributed to the 1950s edition of this boxing survey experiment. I really appreciate your time and knowledge and commitment. You all rock. Thank you very much. For those who might want to participate in the remaining decades from the series, I provided a link in the description, and all official submissions must be made in that thread over at boxingforum24.com. My apologies that I've been taking so long to get through these, but I promise you, I will get through the remaining decades. I'm ideally hoping to get through the rest of them every 4 to 6 weeks or so if I can, but you know, best laid plans and all that. But if you're knowledgeable about any of these eras, it's never too early to volunteer. So for those of you who are interested in participating for the 1970s, 1980s, 1990s, 2000s, and 2010s, please consider joining the fun if you're up to the challenge. And the 1960s will remain open for a little longer. Figure another 2 or 3 weeks before I start tabulating those results. So once again, here is the final top 10 list from the 1950s edition of the survey. I personally think it's another strong effort from the volunteers in the exercise, and I quite like the list. Archie Moore, the Old Mongoose. What do you think of the results here? Please share your thoughts in the comments section, and I hope you continue along on the journey here when the 1960s results drop and beyond as we continue heading toward the present. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed and have a wonderful night. This is Rummy's Corner.